Exclamation point.
Oh, well, now we're live.
Okay.
Okay, well, here we go. Now we're live. Let me see. Hello, everyone. I know this starts as soon as I press live, so it's recording.
Okay.
So I will get started and get us going. Do you need something? As we get started, of course.
No, I just need to find something that's close for my phone.
Okay.
Real mommy-versations, right.
Everyone, yes. Everyone on these, for those who are watching, hello, you're on Mom-Versations. Just so you know, disclaimer coming in, the women, myself included, I'm interviewing are mothers. So our children are liable to do anything during this interview. So
you might fly right in.
They might fly right in. They might come in crying, asking for snacks. So,
putting them at bay.
Or something in between, whatever. So, but here we are. Welcome, everyone. We are here for Mom-Versations. Welcome. For those who do not know what Mom-Versations is, I have my little paperwork here. Hold on. Mom-Versations is a conversation with different moms who are, here we go. I have my little spiel. Hold on. So for those who don't know, Mom-Versations is a conversation interviewing moms in the arts and entrepreneur different. Okay, now
we're talking to moms, okay? The moms who got a message.
I'm off today, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm usually on top
of everything else. You know why? Because we were a mom today, okay? Because
you got the 5,000 things I did before I pressed live.
We didn't even know we were pressing live yet because we were still answering the baby.
Okay, everyone.
Okay,
hello, everyone. Welcome to Mom-Versations. For those who don't know, my name is Aretha Scruggs, and this is Mom-Versations. It is a show where we hear real stories from incredible moms making waves in our world, from entertainment to entrepreneurs and beyond. Thank you for joining the Mom-Versations tonight. We're going to be talking about how is it that we live a life where we're thriving as mothers and thriving in purpose and with our passion projects. So I am honored today to, hello, Rhea. Someone says hello. Rhea Darnell says hello. I'm honored today to feature one of my really good friends, Maisha.
Hello.
Sebastiany. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and then she's going to have the chance to, I'm going to go through our questions and then just allow the conversation to lead where it may. And hopefully in the process, I do this show, one, to give a platform to amazing moms who are doing things in all kind of industries, particularly in the arts, because that's where I am featured and that's where I spend a lot of my time. But you'll hear conversations and interviews from moms. I've had moms from all different walks of life. And it's really just to, one, give them a platform to hear their story. I think I am so fascinated to hear different people's stories, but I'm also fascinated, as I'm a new mom or somewhat new with my 4-year-old, people who have older children, how in the world have they raised their kids up until this point? And even some lessons I can learn on the process. So hopefully as you're listening, as I interview Maisha, and I'm amazed by her story, hopefully you're also amazed and can take some nuggets home to go and thrive in whatever field you find yourself. So I'll take this time to do a little bit of an introduction of my friend Maisha. Maisha, for those, I know you have some friends who are tuning in and who will be tuning in and either watching it now or later. Maisha is a playwright, she is a poet, and she is an actress. She has, some of her work has been featured in Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival, in the HBO New York Latino Film Festival, and on HBO. And she just finished her play, Nina and Troy Boy, which we'll hear a little bit more about. But she is a mom who somehow finds the ability to combine not only her love of the arts, but also social justice. So through her Urban Arts Academy or Urban Artivist Academy, She has combined her passion for filmmaking with her commitment to working with youth and social justice issues. She, like I said, has just finished her play Nina and Troy Boy, but she's also had the chance to either on stage, either work with commercials and in theater, but also she's been on the administrative side as an administrator for film festivals such as Tribeca Films, African American Women in Cinema, and Cannes, as well as she's worked in the National Black Theater in New York. So she is a mom of two, a mom of a now, I think, 23-year-old, Gibran, and a 5-year-old, Azaria.
Jazz hands. Sorry.
5-year-old Azaria. So you will hear more about her story as we go along. But I want to give this time to give her a round of applause. Hello, welcome to Mom-Versations.
Hello. Thank you, amazing mom and lady.
Yes. For those who don't know the two of us, we met actually. I don't even know if Maisha knows this story, but Maisha is an answer to my prayers because I was in the process of, changing one of the churches that I was on staff at, singing at. And I was just praying. I was a new mom, had an 18-month-old baby girl. And I was just literally praying for mom friends because I had a bunch of friends who were single, people who have no children, who are not married, who have no idea what it is to be a mom. And I was like, nobody understands me. And I happened to sit at Fellowship Moms at Fellowship Monrovia. And one of the very first people I met, besides Rachel, was Maisha. And to find that she was also a single mom for a minute and to really bond with our little girls. They're like best friends. They love each other. And just to have that person to kind of just be authentically real with and talk and laugh and all kind of things. So this is my friend, y'all.
Yes, y'all. And you know what, Rita, what I appreciated about you is one of the first things you said. I remember meeting you. You're like, I'm just looking for an authentic, real relationship. I was like, okay, I can do that. We can go on that level. I was like, yes.
Because for those who don't know, this here mommy game is real.
You're like, I just need. Look, we don't need all the fake shish mish mush mush. I just need some authenticity. Yeah. And I think it helps so much when you're like, this is what I'm leading with.
Yeah.
This is what you want to get. This is what I'm looking for. So I really appreciated that kind of like intro to our friendship. And it's been wonderful.
Yeah. You ain't got time. We got a little bit of time. We got a little bit of time for us. And so with that little bit of time, you need some authentic. Now give it to me straight.
Right.
Give it to me straight.
What am I doing? How am I showing up? How are you showing up?
Yes. And or just the space to just have someone to really just laugh with, cry with.
Yes.
Whatever. We've been doing all kind of stuff. Our little Christmas, what we build? The little houses.
Gingerbread house. We've been momming, y'all. Okay?
Yeah.
But also, I think another thing I really appreciate is we're momming, but we really can find the space to have those conversations and support whatever our visions are or what we're working on or what we want to see kind of birthed, in our creative capacity. So I really appreciate that because I think that there's the mom friends, and then there's the mom creative friends, and that's a whole other bag. That's like a double dose of espresso chocolate drink. You're like, oh, this is good. And it's powering me up. So yeah.
So true. Because those two things are somewhat crazy, bro. Being an artist, being a mom, both of those can be chaos. But figuring out, oh wait, you live in the chaos regularly too? Okay, wait a minute. Maybe we can be friends.
Right. You in Crazy Town? Okay.
You live in Crazy Town regularly too? Okay.
Figure out how to make it not so crazy.
Yeah. So let's go with let me give Maisha a chance to really talk about. Tell me, who are you? Where are you from? How did you get started in the arts?
Okay, so Hi, everybody. My name is Maisha Sebastiany. And I'm very thankful. I can't take credit for naming myself, but, I lost the screen. I can't take credit for naming myself, but I'm very thankful for my mother who named me Maisha, which is big life in Swahili, and Azadi, big life.
Life.
Oh, not life. Yeah, life. Life.
Not life.
And Azadi, which she thought for many years was Swahili, but upon my research is actually Urdu, which is a Hindu language, which is freedom. So my mom named me Big Life Freedom, and I feel like just that kind of like charted the course of what I was going to do and how I was going to do it, which probably often involved rebellion at times because I wanted to be free and
of course
life.
But here.
Right, thankful for the wisdom and grace of my mom and grandmother, who I can also give credit to introducing me to the arts. My mom's a visual artist. She's an amazing writer. She's written for Essence. And, I grew up watching her being editor of newspapers and director of communications for universities and health department, and just seeing her navigate as a single mother, an artist, and a professional. But I feel like she also gave me the space to explore a different medium, and I really gravitated towards performing arts. And I think my first introduction to performing arts was, my grandmother was a writer, and she taught acting for young people. And it's funny how you like connect the dots later. I just remember like spending my summers or going up to visit grandmother and being part of the drama troupe that she was directing, or having all like these really great teenagers come to the house when I was little and try and bounce in and out of the rehearsals, or go to the community center where they had the shows. And I think that that's something really seated in me that, yes, I wanted to definitely be a performer, but I also really connected to young people, especially young performers. So that's how, when the genesis, like the seed started. That's what I've been doing ever since. I grew up in the Virgin Islands. So as a big VI girl, my family is from Barbados, but I landed up in Virgin Islands, and that's my home. But that's also where I started, with traveling theater troupes, and then went away to college for and went to school to learn my craft, and then got a chance to study with some really great, amazing people after that. So,
wow,
that's like in a nutshell.
Yes, your whole story in 2 minutes, 1 minute or less. Okay. Mike and Mia say hello. Mike and Mia are here, and Eric Chen, hello.
Oh, hello,
everyone. I know, just like me, I didn't realize you recently lost your grandmother. So, and I know she was a big part of your art life, your life in the arts.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how do you honor her legacy?
Oh man. If I could turn I have like pictures of me and her like right here next to me.
Let's see the pictures. Share time.
Okay, so this is me and my grandmother can you see that?
Yes.
All right, that's me and her. She's holding me. And then she came to like every one of my shows. So this is backstage at a show in Buffalo.
Oh.
And I just, I feel like I got a chance to really, it's sad when someone's passing, you get a chance to really kind of see the big picture of who they are, who they were. And she would have been great for Mom-Versations, really balancing that line of creativity and not giving up on your dreams, and still being prioritizing family, prioritizing your legacy, your children, and pouring into them. I think that's very, very, that's the foundation that she gave to me. And that's something that I keep in the forefront of when I think about and honoring her and the things that I do. It's, how you choose work and how do you want to show up when you're there, how is it going to further the legacy and also allow you to prioritize family. Because I feel like as much as you are a mom and an artist, it doesn't go like this all the time.
Yes.
It doesn't. And I think it's hard to understand that when you're not in that boat. But there's days when one is going to have to ride out the other. And you're going to have to, or there might be days, seasons, weeks. And you have to be able to embrace that. Yeah. And I really hope that you can create the community or the support in your family to embrace that. So like they understand like, hey, mommy's got a show now. So I'm being gone for this week or,
good.
So just being able to have that flexibility is something that is built, and it's something it takes a lot to, commit to and work through.
Yeah.
It's different for everybody. So I guess in honoring her, it's just like keeping that and keeping her fire. My grandmother went back to school when she was 79 years old to get her BA. She had been accomplished. I didn't even know she didn't have a degree. I didn't know.
Wow.
But when I read this, I was like, what? She went back to school at 79? She went back and she got her BA in history and published 2 books. So she was an author. And so, yeah, and that's the other thing that inspires me because I always feel like, oh, I'm getting old.
Right.
Nah, She keeps me going.
Yes. What a great example. Shoot. So I never was too old.
Never too old.
Start again at 79. Imagine that. Wow.
It's funny. One of the guys that was in her class, he came to the funeral. He was in her college class, and he was like, Jessie was the fire of the class. I was like, I can imagine.
Wow, that's beautiful. What a beautiful legacy, and what a story. What a story to follow and to look at, a person to emulate. Can you further tell us about your family? Tell us about your kiddos and your husband, and tell us about your family.
Yeah, so I have 2 children chilling, and I have my wonderful, wonderful son who is 23 years old, and his name is Gabron. And then I have my daughter Azaria, as we mentioned earlier, who is 5, going on 15.
Yes.
It's a whole different ballgame with girls. It's so interesting. And I have a wonderful husband, Lee, who is also an artist and who supports me just 150%. We actually met performing in New York City.
Nice.
And it's funny because when we met, I felt like, and I tell this story. He always tells it like, oh, your mama, she fell in love with me first. I'm like, no, don't tell the story that way. That's what happened, but
that's not what happened.
But I do tell him, I was like, I really felt like there was this thing, this voice that said, that's your husband. I was like, no, it's not. Like, no, it's not. Because I just loved him. We were like the lead in a show, and he was like the male lead, and I was the female lead. But our stories, he was like the storyteller, and he was just like this skinny guy running around in tights, rehearsing it. And I was like, I don't think that is my husband, but
Lord, I don't know if that's you.
I don't know if that's you, Lord. But no, I really, really value our dynamic and our relationship because it really taught me a new understanding and perspective on love, commitment.
Nice.
I had been a single mother. I met Lee when my son Gabron was 12 years old.
Wow.
And I had been married to Gabron's dad when I was super young, 19. And then, we got just 19. I'll just leave it like that.
Leave it there.
But God is so good. He can redeem you and take situations and things. And I feel like Gabron walked so much of my creative journey with me. Everybody who knows me, I think there's different points in my life, knows me when I went back to school, knows me when I was, hustling in New York City as an artist. Gibran was like backstage baby on all my plays in Buffalo. So he has been there as like my side guy for a long time.
Wow.
When Lee and I got married, we really had to commit to what does a blended family look like? And my priority was still like, I still want to be able to create an environment where it's healthy and it's loving and it's God-centered.
Yeah.
And I got to know that you're going to be committed and roll with me and my son through, this. And he has been just, a really great stepdad. And he's been great in regards to just being a dad and being a father, and being an artist. So he's my person I can also talk to about my creative ventures and what he thinks about this and that. So
I love it. I forgot the blended family piece. So that even brings a different story to Mom-Versations. One, give hope for those of us.
Oh yes, there is hope. Yes.
Hope, but also what that even looks like as a blended family. How did you even? And he was not a young child. He was 12. Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? I mean, you have to talk details, but how did that even come together after being a single mom? And I know that hustling single mom to now having support.
Yeah, I think it was really important for us at that time. We were at Brooklyn Tabernacle. That was our home church. And Brooklyn Tabernacle really has some great supports around not just parenting classes, but also family classes and understanding the importance of blended families and the reality of you can't just throw everybody in a pot and expect them all to mesh well together. And I think that myself and my husband, we come from divorced families and we come from blended families ourselves. And we have been those stepkids and have had experiences that have not always been pleasant, or, experiences that can really shape you as a young person in your direction. So, it was really important that we got on the same page about that and really understood what we were going to do as a team in raising my son and him taking on my son as his son. And I think it was really great to have, like you say, I think you have the support is really wonderful, but there's a transition when you've been independent as an independent woman and you making things happen and you know how to make $20 spread until
right.
Until like the end of the month, or I got this bill paid and that bill. You were very good at multitasking. There's a lot of different skills that are translatable, in producing and all these other things. Hey, you want somebody to be a line producer, hire a mom, a single mom, to tell you how to meet all your basics. But it took something going from being independent and then yielding kind of like that control in that position to someone else, someone who's new, and someone who actually hasn't been a parent before. So that was our journey. And, I think that I couldn't have picked a better partner in this. I couldn't have picked a better partner. And it's just, our marriage journey is one thing, but when you team up as a parent and you are responsible for a whole nother human being's life and whether in their well-being and being consistent and providing something that's consistent for them, that is something that's a commitment greater than yourself. So it has been, it's not perfect. Nothing is ever perfect. So I never want, that's not what I'm saying, but if you have a partner who's willing to work through the nitty gritty and roll up their sleeves and get dirty and work with you, then that is all you can really ask for, and honor you and respect you. That's what you can ask for. And it has been very interesting. We had to learn different ways to react to one another. It had been me and Gibran for a long time, and then it was me, Gibran, and Lee. And then it was me, Gibran, Lee, and Azaria. So Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Without lies.
See, we're moms, y'all.
She's entered the building, everyone. Go back, money. Here. Okay, great. What I love it. For those who turn it back on.
Mommy, turn off the light. Turn off. Why?
We'll take a moment to say hello to our guests. Hi, Toogie.
Hi, Toogie.
Yes, hi, ladies. Lord, as my
Hi,
sister's
Tooga.
probably
Hi,
on here
Tooga.
laughing. My twin sister always goes, "Oh, there's money." She does when she's entered the building, and then she just goes about like. Anyway, so let's go back to. So tell me, what do you think? So in talking about purpose, so we've heard about who you are, what do you do, your family, and the blended dynamics of being a wife, being a single mom, being a mom with now 2 children. How can you, let's talk about what is your purpose in your why? What do you think that is? Do you have a specific mantra or something you live by? How do you, what is your purpose?
Well, I don't have a specific mantra, but I do believe that my purpose is to make everything I do, make sure it glorifies God in anything, in any way that I can. So that means that my art, my storytelling, my parenting, my relating to my husband in a marriage. I think the refining aspect is when you go through situations and you go through experiences that may not always be ideal. How do you still use that to be able to create something that still points folks to God? And that's my, I feel like, my purpose. And that, I think, is translatable in working with the young people and having them understand the importance of social justice and the importance of representation and understanding who God created them to be, not just for the spotlight on them, but because this is a unique, beautiful story that God has created in different types of people. And we want to be able to be seen as much as everyone else is. That's the bottom line. And in parenting, like, it's not pretty. It is not.
No. Double shake. No.
Double check. No, it's not pretty. And I think a lot of times, if you're real with yourself, you might feel like you fail. You're failing more than you are doing well in parenting. You have to be able to, I feel like a lot of times, yield to God in that. And say, like, look, I don't have this all together. I need you, because I want to make sure that this person has a good relationship with you. That's all.
Yeah.
That's what my job is, to make sure that they know you. Not that I'm their God, because I can't be their God.
No.
I can't parent them in that way either.
Yeah.
And even with my artistic ventures, I can't be the center. I have to be used. I have to be what God pours through me, not that it's all about me. And I think that is something that I try and use my purpose. I try and come back to that center.
Yeah.
Things,
Beautiful. I know I think it was early on when I met you. Guys, we have the church I attend is Fellowship Monrovia. Fellowship Monrovia has an amazing racial reconciliation department group. Like, it's so well done by John Williams. If you don't know who that is, look him up on Facebook and get involved in this. Even if you don't go to Fellowship Monrovia, they allow you to get involved. But I think early on when I met you, one of the first times that I really saw your heart and your purpose and your why, and even your passion for social issues and just really speaking up, was when John had you speak. It was I think it was a 1.0 workshop. It was my first real real kind of working with or just attending the stuff with the racial reconciliation group. And I remember you gave that talk on, I think it was just what it's like to be a Black person, whatever, the struggle of being Black in America. And it was such I remember I was sitting there going, whoo, whoo. Where it was just like, I mean, you not only speak with such passion, but you can tell that it is from a place of just, at least in this situation, of putting the information out there, of being the voice, but also like, this is like standing true in who you are and the authenticity of the job that you've been given to speak that, but also like, here it is. And it wasn't like a preachy moment, but it was just fully like, this is it. And I'm telling, like, it was just so matter of fact. And it was so for all, not only Black people in the audience, but I think even the non-Black people in attendance, like, it was so knowledgeable. You talk from a space with such wisdom, but also there was like a place of love. And I think that kind of ties into what you're speaking about as your purpose. Can you tell us a little bit more about who you are and why do you get involved in, especially now, in these social issues, social justice issues? Where does that come from?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Reed. Yeah, so thank you. Hey, I never knew she felt like that about me. I'm flattered. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think, you open up a can of worms, lady. That work is so like intrinsically just rooted through who I am. And I think I'll always be brought back to that. So, my grandfather talked about my grandmother. My grandfather was a Tuskegee Airman. And I always talk about my grandpa being a Tuskegee Airman, but he's also yours too?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Grandpa and my uncle, my grandmother's brother, were both, and they were was your person at the White House when I think Barack honored him?
You talking about in DC, right?
Yes, Barack. Was it at his inauguration or something? He honored him. Yeah,
he got the gold medal. They sent it to him and all the certificate because him and his brother were both. Reed, I didn't know that. So I said, okay, so just like we know about the history and the legacy of Blacks in this country and what we have endured and the stories that a lot of times aren't told of what it takes for us to get to that place. This is 60, maybe more years later when they're getting the recognition, right? But at that time, what was it like for them to go through those experiences and to defend, America on international soil and all of that? And, my grandfather is also the president of the NAACP for many years in upstate New York. And my grandparents started the African American Heritage Association, really educating people in their town, in their community about the importance of Black lives and the importance of African history and where you come from and all of those things. So I think that for me intrinsically was very deeply rooted. And then being able to kind of know that, like I was brought up in that, and then going out into the world, and then you don't necessarily experience that. You don't experience like all of this kind of greatness that your parents and your grandparents are pouring into you, and like this is who you come from, this is where you are, and then you go out in the world and you have your own experiences, and then you're left to question like, okay, well, why is this happening? What's going on? What's the deeper why? I love to do a 5-level why, which is like this exercise I do in a lot of like facilitation workshops. You just kind of ask that question, why to get to the base and the root of something.
Nice.
Do it in other ways too. You can do 5, the what, where, when, what, how, and not why, but just inquiry. so the process of inquiry was really like, why is this happening? Why are people having this experience with Black people in this country? Why? And I think that that's not a journey you go on solely intellectually. It's not a journey that you can go on solely emotionally. I think it's a spiritual journey to understand who you are and how you can best convey that to other people so that they are able to embrace you and that you can embrace them, even if there has been disregard and if there has been, tensions and tension. That's saying it lightly, right?
Right.
But I feel like in doing that work, when I came to California, I had finished working at Coral New York Leadership Center in New York, working as like director of the Mayor's Youth Leadership Council. And I did a lot of work with power and privilege with young people. A lot of work with them understanding institutionalized racism, internalized racism. Did a lot of training with undoing racism, which is the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond, which is a big institute that does corporate trainings nationally.
Wow.
I remember going to that training and just being like, wow, this is pretty much what I've learned my whole life. And they're now telling everybody else about the importance of like, just, the importance of understanding the falsity that we've kind of lived under, this understanding of what race is, and that racism is not the same as prejudice. And when we fight racism, we are fighting, something that is is institutionalized. And people don't want to say that it is, that's something that has to do with structures and how organizations and strongholds, we talk about strongholds and understanding what they are, how those have been put in place to keep other people down, to keep Black people down.
Right.
So when I came to this, to John, the first time I took the workshop, I was like, I'm going to tell you, I came out here and I was like, okay, I want to go to the workshop and I'm not going to have any expectation because it's under church. And I had never seen the church had the conversation on race. No. And I was really like, Maisha, because we were just going to sing Kumbaya and not say we all have to love each other and not really address the reasons and what happened and why and what we need to do to really speak to the conversation broadly. I was a little my pastor at first was like, let me see what's going to happen up in here.
Me too.
So see, you too, right? And by the time we hit for lunch, I swear I walked outside and fell to my knees and I was like, Lord, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because that's where the conversation, I believe, has to happen.
Yeah.
John knows that work so well, and he frames it in the structure. It's so, when you craft a day program, it's really intricate and there's a lot of detail that goes into it. And he crafted the day very well. But he also crafted in a way that you could have the conversation of where does faith, where does religion play? How do you have that conversation? And I think that was the most frustrating piece for me when I was out in the world, in the secular, in the professional world, having these conversations, and people were just left pissed on either side. It's like, I'm going to my corner over here and I'm going to it. And there was no kind of like dividing or not dividing. There was no type of factor aligning folks back.
Nice.
And that's what needs to happen in order to have really tough conversations. It's going to be emotionally charged. You can bring all your intellectual aspect to it, but it's about spiritually. What is it that we're really looking at? And how do we really address this?
Yeah.
Who is really doing the work where we're not leading from the emotion, because the emotion can be very volatile and very just at times.
Yeah.
But to be able to really navigate that in a way that we are having conversations that are really pushing the needle forward. So I think that that's what I've always been passionate, as you can tell, passionate about.
It's all right. It's all right.
Very passionate about. Yeah, and making sure that young people can advocate for themselves in their circles and have tough conversations. And I know where they come from and the value of not just who we are as Black people, but understand and tell their white friends that you losing out a lot on who your heritage is if you just want to just accept just being white.
Good.
There's a lot of heritage for you that you miss out on when you just kind of accept the power of just being white in that narrative.
Come on. Y'all, you gotta take the training with John Williams. But this lady here is, once you really get her talking, she gon' school you. She knows a whole lot.
I haven't been can I get this out right? I haven't worked with them in a while, but I do my own as a trainer and facilitator.
That's right.
You're
a consultant.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's a consultant specifically for diversity, for reconciliation.
Yeah, for diversity, undoing racism, cultural sensitivity training, being able to understand all of those aspects of what, power and privilege. I love to delve into power dynamics because I feel like that's a big uncharted, conversation that lends itself to racism. There's power. Power. So
Well, how can you talk about how does this spill over into your art? I know, for those who don't know, she, like I mentioned in the beginning, she has a play that she wrote. I was a part of the reading, honored to read her work of Nina and Troy Boy. Can you talk a little about that project and how does it involve your passions? How did you bring all that together?
Yeah, so Nina and Troy Boy is my latest play. I write for screen and stage, and hopefully we'll produce much more this year now that I don't have a little person. She's much more self-sufficient. But Nina and Troy Boy, I actually started, and this is the mom timeline, I started Nina and Troy Boy in 2016, and it took me about 3 years to finish it. I started it, and it was a hard time. My daughter had been born 2015. My son had just graduated from high school in 2015. All of the Black Lives Matter had just started a year before, with Mike Brown shooting, and all of those things at times, those experiences and what we watch. I think they kind of get seated in different parts of your consciousness, and you walk around with either like a fear or it changes, especially as a Black person, it changes you and how you are directing yourself to show up in certain places, or even your children, right? So, I had my son, he went to school in New York City. We lived in city, he lived in Brooklyn. He grew up, went to school all throughout Brooklyn, and he went to school in Manhattan. And I remember telling him, like, maybe you shouldn't wear that hood. Just be careful when you're wearing your hood so that you can be aware of your environment. You can hear, and it came from such a place like, I don't want to be able to change or impose on him, but the reality is I have to in order for him to be aware of the things that he's going to be aware of for his safety in this country.
Yes. And
Nina and Troy, all of those feelings, it came out in Nina and Troy Boy. And Nina and Troy Boy basically explores the relationship of a mother and son during the emergence of the Black Lives Matter movement. It kind of take that as kind of like the background, that this kind of movement is taking place. It's not the focus of the play, but the play is more of just a snapshot in between the time that he goes missing the night before, in the time of his homecoming, and what happens in that time when, as a Black mother And you can be as any mother, but I'm specifically saying as a Black mother, not knowing where her son is, feeling the worst, giving all of the things that have happened, and also exploring the complexity and the depth of the human relationships that take place. I think a lot of times the trauma that happens can eclipse the relationships that were lost. It can eclipse really like that person being yanked from a fabric of a community, a fabric of a family, and the voids that happen in that. So really, I wanted to explore that on a level where we're talking about, you know, what does this, who was this person to his girlfriend, or what, how did his mother struggle in growing and raising him? What does that all look like? And you know, really being able to write it, hopefully from a perspective where everybody can identify with that kind of human relation, you know, that happens. So
Yeah.
that's what Nina and Troy Boy is about. Yeah.
So it's in the process. We did the reading. Is it you're producing it to do a film, short, or where does Nina and Troy Boy go from here? Troy Boy.
Oh, you're like, this is a Troy Boy. So Troy Boy.
Troy Boy.
Nina and Troy Boy is actually the name. My cousins were named Nina and Troy Boy on my dad's side.
Okay.
And I really just love the ring of that name, Nina and Troy Boy, Nina and Troy Boy.
Yes.
I remember my cousins, and actually Troy, they call him Troy Boy, but he was found, he died on a subway because he had kind of been, they lived in New York City, but he had kind of like, you know, a lot of stories, you know, people homeless, you know, they fall out, you know, or away from their families, or their families try and reach out to try and do their best, but at some point not able to. And Troy Boy, who was like very sweet, loving, always super kind, but had a lot of mental health struggles. And his mom, he was the only son for his mom. And she kind of had to detach and let him go in that kind of way that we have to with our children. As much as we want to shape their outcome for their life, there is a hard like stop. And that God is like, yes, but now you have to trust them to me. But Troy Boy had he had a bit of a tragic ending. So the story is not based on him, but the names, Nina and Troy Boy, that those are actual people. We were set to produce with the Hollywood Fringe Festival. That was canceled due to COVID. So we are looking to produce hopefully in 2021. In the meantime, we had a couple of readings with I should know the name of the theater. I'm on the spot now.
Oh.
Greater Fest Film Festival. Chandra Thomas, and then I can't remember the name of the other, but we had a couple readings during this pandemic, you know, quarantine time, which was really great because hearing other people, you know, put words to it, different actors getting feedback from audience, you know, gets you in the process of doing another rewrite. So yeah, we're just really set to hopefully produce in the spring. We would love to film something like, you know, and it's all like how do we in the industry, you know, use this time to kind of pivot and, you know, formulate what it looks like. So
come on and talk. Can you talk about that? What does self-care look like? What are you doing in the process? I mean, maybe that's two questions. What are you doing? You're a mom. That's something all on its own. You are a artist. That's a whole nother thing. You're a wife, and then you are a mom to Black children, and specifically a Black son. How are you taking care of yourself? What does that look like in your day-to-day to just show up as you and to live into some of these things that we've already talked about?
Yeah. Wow. I think, you know, self-care is deep, man, because Self-care can be like, I'm going to take the time and do something for myself. And I think that it also is, I'm going to take the time and make sure I'm not thinking something of myself because I'm not able to do this or I'm not able to do that. So giving yourself grace in times when it's like, I don't feel like cooking it tonight.
Right.
Like I can't cook dinner tonight, or like or just I just need 5 minutes, or I'm just understanding that you don't have to be perfect in every aspect, in every role. You don't have to show up as a perfect mom, and show up as a perfect artist, or show up as a perfect wife. And I think my self-care is really being able to give myself the grace in that and realize that I'm still growing through this.
Yes.
And what it looks like practically is the thoughts, definitely the thoughts, and knowing that I have room to make mistakes. I have room not to have it all together. I have room to shape what my environment is going to look like, and know that each day is going to be different. Like I thought I was going to do a great braid out today, and it did not.
Simple
hair. It's like, hey, it's okay. It's still my hair, and I'm still gonna love her no matter what.
Love her.
Self-care looks like, and yesterday I bounced out. I was like, I gotta take a walk. I need to just take a walk around the park, and it's the best walk. I can leave, and I came back, and Lee and Azara, they were washing the car and had fun with them doing that too. So, sometimes I think it doesn't always necessarily mean away from your responsibilities, but it just means being present to yourself in your responsibilities and knowing how you're treating yourself, or being kind of cognitive of how you're feeling. So I haven't gone. Like I said, maybe I'll go get my hair done. Or I have to gotta do that soon. The things I could do to myself. But I think it starts with how I feel about myself and what I think about myself.
That's great. That's great. That's some good stuff, because we forget that part. We be like, well, I got my nails done, but I feel crazy. I got my hair done, but
like, oh no,
I don't know where I'm at. That's good.
And being okay with that too, right? And being okay with that, and being like, today was busted. Like that is, it's done. I have nothing more to give today.
No.
And that's okay. We'll start again tomorrow, God willing.
Yes. And that's important. Moms, Black people, whatever, everybody in this who is dealing with stresses. And man, it is so much. Sometimes you're like, ooh, today was a great day. It's productive. And you're like, woo, I did it. And the very next day, you're like,
I can't do anything. Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
What's the calendar? I loved you had a picture of the calendar in I love that. And I was like,
yeah.
I used that for like 2 months. And I was like, you know what? I can't. I'm gonna be real. You didn't follow the calendar every day. We had a lot more free time.
Yeah. Free time. You got to do what works. You got to do what works for you in this situation.
And be okay. That's the subject. And be okay. Tomorrow we'll try again.
Yes, man. Yes. Can you talk about? We got a few more questions, and I always end with these kind of off the top of your head kind of questions. How have you dealt with? I think these are this is probably my selfish question, because I love to hear how people deal with. How have you dealt with failure and overcoming through these different parts of your journey?
They're two separate things, because you don't always fail and then overcome, right? Because
you're right.
You might just fail and just be like, I'll come back to that.
Flat on your behind and pow.
Be like, okay, I'll come back to that in a minute.
Yeah.
I think, wow, how do I deal with failure and overcoming? I think I think it's aligned with the previous question and like your self-care. Like what are you saying to yourself?
Yes.
And when those things happen, and how are you caring for yourself? How are you showing up in that moment? What unreal expectations are you having on yourself? Are you expecting, that you are not going to fail in certain things? Are you expecting that you're not able to take the situation and turn it around? Um, I think my biggest example of that is being a parent, and being a parent with my son, LeBron, and wanting him to do certain things, right? And take off in certain ways, and feeling like, oh, did I do something wrong? Did I fail here? Did I, and taking that situation and understanding. And I think once you have an understanding that in all that you do, that you're not going to master it until you keep doing it. And that you have to be able, I think there's like certain, I don't know if it's Stephen Covey or something, like there's a number of ways or number of times you can do a particular thing in order for you to become a master at something.
Yes, 10,000 hours. Is that it?
Yeah, that's a lot of hours.
That's a lot.
Oh, Jesus.
Every time I hear that, I'm like, 10,000? Okay.
That's a lot of hours. But exactly, right? And understanding that, are you going to do 10,000 hours perfectly? You're not. So really being fair with yourself and saying, okay, what's the percentage here? What's the ratio?
Yeah.
And allowing for failure. I think the social media so much, we got these standards, man. Like, it's like, you got to be perfect. You got to be on your grind. You got to hustle. You got to have all these things. And that's great if someone can maintain and sustain in that level and be super successful. It's hats off to you, but don't create unrealistic expectations for yourself. You get to know yourself.
Yeah.
Get to know yourself and understand what you are able to do. And then that way, that ratio of like failure versus success starts to change a little bit more, and I think that's the overcoming part. The more you get to know yourself, you then set yourself up for better success, because you know what you can work with and what you can, and you know what you can't. And it's important to know what you can't work with, So I think that's answering the question.
Yeah. Well, that would be one of my last full questions. What do you think you are learning? What are you learning? What is your lesson that you're getting in this season? It doesn't have to be quarantine season. Maybe it's this age or this, I don't know, season of your life. What is the greatest lesson you're learning?
Yeah. So the greatest lesson for me is, I think I've always been a person to, like, if I think it, I can make it happen. All I got to do is think it, and I can make it happen, and I'll be able to. And I think while a majority of that is true, there's also different factors that affect the how quick that happens, and how that shows up. Because I feel like what I'm learning is that now, if I think about something, I want to make it happen, I'm also thinking with my mom brain, my creative brain, my family brain, and I am thinking about how I can make it happen and allow these other things to still run a schedule. And I think that what I'm learning is, like, real talk, that it's not always what you can think and make happen. A lot of things that you do have to yield to the creator and to God, and to saying, hey, this is what I would like, but I don't know if this is within what your plan is for me. And I think that's the hardest thing. I wouldn't say the hardest thing to learn, but I think that's the thing that allows us to walk in humility in order to better appreciate the things that we get when we get them. Did I say that right? That, yes, we can walk, once we yield whatever it is that we want to create, and make sure that it's something in line with what God has purposed for us, then when we do get that thing, we will be able to appreciate it more.
Nice. All right, come on with the lessons. We learning lessons. I heard someone say this is about the journey and not the destination. And it's
about the journey for sure. The journey,
lessons, the nuggets we learn along the way.
Yeah, and the journey you don't end up at the destination busted. You got to still come up to the destination, be like, all right, I'm still ready to party.
Yeah,
but the journey breaks you down. Woo! That's why you got to have some, you got to have that good backpack on so the journey doesn't break you down.
Yes.
So when you get there, you still be ready to be like, I'm here, God. Okay, we good.
That's good. All right, we come into our last two kind of fire off the top questions. If you met, well, now you have two different age children. Say you met Gabron or Azaria in their 20s, 30s, 40s. But say if you met your child later in life, what would you want them to know about Maisha?
Aww. That's a hard question, Reed. Because I would hope that they know everything about her. Like, yeah, my mom's crazy, but she's great. She got a big heart. Or, I would want my daughter to know that my hope was to pour into her so that she could be the type of person that would be a light for others, not at the expense of sacrificing herself, but being a light to others. And I feel like that's who Maisha, who I would say I'm hoping to be and be that a role model for her. And just like I would hope that my son, well, I don't know, I could think of Gabron in his 40s, and I just hope that he knows, and we've had these conversations, how much those are my biggest masterpieces, my children. They're my best masterpieces. You can write and act and do all these great things and have projects that I'm really connected to and passionate about. But their well-being that's my best masterpiece. I think that's.
I love it. Last question of the night. What?
That was the last.
Huh?
I thought that was the last one.
No, one more. One more. Maisha, who are you becoming?
Who am I becoming?
Yes.
I am becoming, I think a more confident and bolder or courageous artist. I'm becoming a mom who is understanding the importance of me being an artist and how that helps me parent.
Good.
And I'm becoming, hopefully, a wife who is a good life partner and able to look at my everything about myself with humility and have that same humility and vulnerability for my husband. So I'm becoming, I guess, all those things. I should have thought of one word answers for all those, but I think abstractly. So I don't know. I know.
You're becoming.
I am becoming.
You're becoming.
Courageous. I'm becoming bold. I'm becoming, more loving, confident, all of those things. And embracing when I have bad hair days.
Hey, you looking good on this here video. So you were all right. Video.
Yes. Thank you, lady. Thank you.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to Mom-Versations with the Maisha Sebastiany. Thank you, Maisha, for your story and sharing yourself with my audience.
You are so welcome. What a joy.
And your little nuggets.
What'd you say?
Your little nuggets of truth and little nuggets of wisdom. They're all splattered throughout this here conversation we had. So thank you for sharing. I know it's sometimes you get winded. It's a lot of chatting, but hopefully you've learned something. I've learned something about you. Hopefully you've learned something about yourself, as the audience has hopefully picked up also some little nuggets of wisdom.
Yeah.
Story.
Great questions.
Yay!
Questions, lady. Thank you so much.
So everybody check out Maisha. You can follow her here on Facebook or on Instagram. Is it the same name, Maisha? Or what's
your Azadi?
Maisha Azadi.
Yep.
And you can check out. Wait to look at her play. She posts a lot of things that she's doing artistically on her social media. So check that out. Check out Nina and Troy Boy. Like I said, I had the chance to be a part of one of the readings. So it's a great piece of work, and really honored to really know this woman who is able to kind of carry so many and wear so many hats, and then still show up passionately, authentically herself in a space and in a room. So
thank you.
Honored to get to hear a little bit more of your story and to be a friend. So
to be a friend. Like, authentically a friend. I appreciate it.
Yay! Well, that's the end of our Mom-Versations. Thank you again for being a part. Love you, Maisha.
Love you, Ree.
Bye, everybody. See you next week.
Thank you.